Greetings and salutations, and thank you for clicking on the video. In this video, we're going to take a look at Linux Lite 3.2, which is the latest stable release, and it was issued on November 1st of 2016. Last time we took a look at Linux Lite was probably when 3.0 was released, which would have been almost about a year ago now. So I figured it was time to revisit this operating system. A lot of new folks here on the channel don't know about it. There are very few operating systems based on Ubuntu that I will recommend that are not official flavors of Ubuntu. Let me get this to fill the screen. Thank you very much. And this is one of the very few that I will say, yes, this is one that I would say go ahead and use. The other one, of course, would be Linux Mint. Linux Lite is unique in that it is a very lightweight implementation of Linux. It uses an XFCE desktop, and they've pretty much turned off anything that sucks up resources on your computer. Therefore, it will run really well on low-end hardware. And it's also a good choice for anybody who wants to reserve those system resources for their applications instead of worrying about nice, pretty things on the desktop and animations and things like that. And also, there's very little running in the background. So when you boot it up here, you get this lovely menu. The first thing it's going to ask you to do is update the system. They do not use a traditional updater. They have their own little program that does this, and it's worth taking a look at because it is extremely lightweight. There will be no updates on this system as it's already updated, but you can see how it works. So it goes out and checks for updates, and then it just gives you a message and says there are no updates. And if there were, they'd give you a list, and then you would click on it. And from the menu here, we can also check to see if we have all the drivers installed. It opens up an application called Software Properties GTK, and this is native to Ubuntu. And this particular application, it opens the driver window there, and you can see that all of the drivers for this machine are installed. So not only did they install the basic drivers for VirtualBox and the VirtualBox tools, but it also had the VirtualBox Guest DKMS program installed, which means that every time that the kernel gets updated, that the drivers will get updated too. And that's a really nice touch because some other distributions of Linux that do provide these drivers right out of the box don't necessarily install the DKMS. So as soon as you update it, they quit working. So that is pretty cool right there and pretty straightforward and easy to understand. And then we have down here where you can upgrade your system. I would assume this is a tool that you would use later when you wanted to move to a new version. So for instance, in this case, they're talking about moving to 2.8 to 3.2, which is what we got. But since 3.2 is already installed, I don't know where 2.8 comes into that. But anyhow, it's here anyway. A little bit of a logic thing going on, gang. It doesn't quite make sense to me. So now let's take a look at another little neat application they have, and this is Lite Software. This is great for beginners, so they can just go get a bunch of applications that they need. So go ahead and check those resources we just did, but if you hadn't checked it for a while, you want to make sure you get the latest versions and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to install software, and we'll pick something from the list, and I'll show you how it works. So we have a nice list of applications to choose from, very popular on the Linux desktop. And we will choose Spotify. Get Steam here if we want to. Let's see what else we can get. See what it installs for a media player. If I hold down the control key, I can highlight more than one thing. So let's do install, and it says, do you want to install these two applications? Well, I'll say, sure. Music player. Not media player, music player. And so it'll go out and it'll get those applications. I think the music player it's going to install is Clementine, which is the last time that I looked at this. That's what it installs. It has VLC in it already for multimedia, but if you want another one, you can go and get Clementine. So it is downloading the software, and while it is doing that, we will take a look at the menu. We have the lovely Whisker menu as part of the XFCE desktop. Very nice implementation of that. And everything is divided up into categories. And in the favorites, we have sitting here, let's see, updates, and then the all-important help manual. We also have a link to the help manual on the desktop in the upper left-hand corner, and we also have that in the startup menu. So you're never too far away from getting some help. So let's go ahead and open that up and see what we get. And it opens up the Firefox web browser. And then we have this lovely layout here, so you can figure out how to use all this stuff. So let's say it says start here, and then it will go through and explain all of this. So it's very comprehensive. Here's how they're going to explain what the menu does, how to use that, so that's pretty cool. Online help available right out of the box. That is nice. Okay, so this is still installing. We will just let it go on. And let's take a look at some of the settings. I do want to change this theme. This is the original theme. All this white is kind of, to me, it's like, ah. So let's go to settings. And we'll go to appearance. And what should we choose? Let's do something, see if we got something dark. Something that'll make the text pop a little bit more. Install successfully completed. We can go ahead and quit that. There we go. I kind of like that. Okay. That'll do for now, definitely. Here we can also change the fonts, icons, the fonts. I've already made the fonts a little bit bigger to make it easier for you guys to see and for me to see as well. What else do we have in here? It's pretty standard stuff if you're used to the desktop. Let's take a look at the wallpapers. Got a ton of wallpapers. Here's the default wallpaper that it had when I first installed it. So we can take a look at that. I'll go ahead and close the welcome menu. I think we're pretty much done with that. So that's the default wallpaper, and I had changed it to this before I started the video. Just goofing around it, taking a look around myself. He's got one that makes it look like the back of a leather couch. Okay. So, and you can add your own pictures here as well. Pretty basic stuff. We can configure a firewall, which is nice to have right out of the box. So a lot of people say, how do I configure a firewall in Linux? Well, here you go. There it is. So let's see, what else do we have? We can work with the greeter, which is the login. We have the Lite upgrade tool, session and startup, accessibility options, XFCE panel, all the basic stuff. And there's more in here than that as well. So if I come over here, one application I wanted to point out was About Me. About me? I'm awesome, thank you. No. This is where you can put your picture in and change your name and do all that kind of stuff. So I had already done that. Put my little avatar in there that I'm using on all my computers these days. Get a nice XFCE terminal. While we're here, we can take a look at what we've got going on. And I did import my own bash RC file, so it's got all my settings in here. I'm getting to the point where I'm importing that on every machine that I use, and it brings a lot of little tools that I've created with it. So when you first fire this up, you probably won't get a colored prompt because that's something that I have set up. So let's see what we got for a kernel. And it is running 4.4.0 -66, which is the latest Ubuntu long-term support kernel in the 4.4 series. That's fine. Should work just fine on pretty much any hardware that you'd be wanting to put Linux Lite on anyway. And let's see how much memory this thing's taken up. Now remember, I've opened up some stuff here, and I allocated 2 gigabytes for this machine, so we'll see what it's doing. So it's saying the total used right now, even though I've opened up the browser and cached that and all this crap, is only 353 megabytes. So that's pretty cool. And it's not using any swap at all. I do know for a fact that this will run on 512 megabytes because my brother did it. We did upgrade the memory in the computer. And this is pretty much basically it, gang. Let's look at how you get software in the system, because this kind of makes me smile. So what application do you use? Well, if we go to install, remove software, it's Synaptic Package Manager. There it is. Opens up full screen too. Make that a little smaller. There we go. Mouse is a little wonky in a virtual machine. So in here we can just search for packages. Let's go to search. And I had installed Skype, so if we wanted to remove Skype, go search. And it's going to see what's in there. And let's sort by installed. And there's Skype. This is the old Skype application. Not sure whether... I know that Microsoft is not distributing this application anymore. I don't think it's going to quit working, though. They have a new one on the way. So I want to mark that for complete removal. And then I apply. Apply. And it will take it out of the system. Synaptic Package Manager is not shipped by default in standard Ubuntu. And it's not shipped by default in most standard Ubuntu flavors either. It is a wonderful tool for working with Ubuntu and Debian-based systems, and it is my favorite software tool. It's included by default in Linux Mint, and it is also included, I was going to say, well, it's available in Ubuntu Mate in the Software Boutique. So there you go, gang. I mean, there's a lot more to this, but you see that this is a really basic system. When you first install it, there's no compositor, so let's take a look at how you turn that on. So if you're kind of noticing that you're getting some screen tearing and things aren't working right or whatever, and you have a machine that has pretty decent graphics in it, then all you got to do is come to Window Manager, come over to Compositor, and then you can turn it on, and you can change all kinds of stuff about the system. And this is the XFCE desktop, so the file manager that you're going to get is Thunar. We can open up the files down here. So this is Thunar. Actually, maybe not. Hold on. No, it is Thunar. Okay. For a minute there, I thought it might be PC Man FM, but it's not. So anyway, here you go. Thunar is actually a really nice file manager, one of my favorites to work with. And let's see if it has the F3 split. You can split it. No, you can't do that. So it doesn't split with the F3 into 2 panes, but that's okay. That might be something you can turn on in here. That only works in Nemo anymore. I think that a lot of other people have dropped that in favor of tabs, but I always like that feature if you just click F3. Let's go to View and see what we got. Side pane, sidebar, show hidden files, arrange icons, view as detailed list. Yeah. Oh, we forgot to check on our music player. I'm pretty sure it's Clementine. Yep, so that's the one that they say is the music player. So if you have a large collection of music, Clementine is a nice choice. I've heard people say that this is really, really good. Although I've kind of played with it a little bit myself, but I never could quite get away from Rhythmbox. But there you go. You got Clementine for music. I think VLC is installed here too. You got VLC for videos. Yep, there's VLC. And you probably spend a lot of time just going through there and looking at the different stuff. So anyway, like you see, it's a very, very basic Linux system. Lots of good functionality, very low on frills, and it's really designed to be stable, and it's designed to be easy to maintain as well. So that's pretty awesome. One of the reasons that I am not a big fan of systems that are based on Ubuntu that are not official Ubuntu flavors is the fact that people who build on Ubuntu who are not officially sanctioned by Ubuntu, and we're talking about the ones like Ubuntu Mate, Ubuntu GNOME, Ubuntu, Kubuntu, Lubuntu, Xubuntu, all of those different versions of Ubuntu with different desktops. We have Ubuntu Budgie now. Those folks, even though they're independent projects from Canonical, they're getting access to the Ubuntu build servers. They know what's going on when it comes down the line. Somebody like the Linux Lite team here, they pretty much have to kind of back engineer. They wait for Ubuntu to issue a final release, and then they have to go in and look at it, and then they have to back engineer around it. Some distributions are really good at this, and other distributions are not. So the two that I have come across that are built that way, that really seem to work well, are Linux Mint and Linux Lite. And all of the other ones that are out there that are quote-unquote Ubuntu-based, I've always run into stability issues, some weirdness going on, that sort of thing. That doesn't mean that you couldn't install something like that and it works perfectly fine for you. But when I'm dealing with clients, I like to stick to things that I know are going to be very stable. And Linux Lite just has essentially removed a lot of the garbage that Ubuntu has running in the background. Regular Ubuntu has a backup tool, they have a crash reporter, they have an updater that's constantly going out and looking for stuff. And Linux Lite's just removed it and replaced this with very simple tools that you click on instead of the system automatically telling you these things. And so therefore it makes it a great system to run on low-end hardware. So there you go, gang. That is a look at Linux Lite. There's really not much more to talk about. This is it. This is what it looks like. This is what it does. I would, like I said, feel good giving this to somebody who is new to Linux and just wants a really nice operating system that runs and doesn't want a big high overhead on things. My brother is the perfect example. He was a Windows user, but he had also had some experience using Unix. So he understood the basic system because back a long time ago he used to work in a computer lab and he's worked with big Unix mainframes. So he kind of brought that in a little bit. So it's, it's user-friendly, but I would think if the person had the hardware to deal with it, that you would, if it was somebody who was completely new to computer concepts and didn't even know that they had to update their machine, then what I would say to them is, I'd probably put you on Linux Mint or Ubuntu Mate, one of the two. I'm leaning more toward Linux Mint these days, simply because people have asked for Linux Mint almost consistently for the last year. And so therefore, even on my website, I have, pretty much said that I'm going to be using Linux Mint. Before we leave, we really ought to take a look at the Linux Lite website. So if you're chomping at the bit and you want to get yourself a copy, let's take a look at what you'll be dealing with. And I'll go to Internet, and we will open up Firefox, which is something that we haven't done. And we get a pretty standard Firefox here. That's nice. I noticed they have it set to show the menu. Like I said, it's very old school. Anybody who's used to traditional Windows, then they'll be right at home with this particular system. So what I want to do is go to let's see, just put that in there. It should go straight to it. Oh, no, you dummy. You didn't type the whole thing. See what it does. That's better. Here we are on the Linux Lite site. So you can come here and you can read more about it. So let's discover here. Multimedia, we get Libre Office. And if I want to download it, let's see, I go back. Well, where's the download link? I found it before. Support, feedback, download. It was hiding right in front of my face. And so here it says that the downloads you can get a torrent here, or you can either get a direct download, which will take you to SourceForge. So there you go, and then it has some tips on installing on different systems and creating the bootable media that you would need to do that. So a very awesome job by the Linux Lite team. I'm definitely impressed. And thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. I wish I had some earth-shakingly cool features to show you in Linux Lite, but that's not what this is about. This is just really a real basic Linux system here. And do check out Easy Linux on Facebook. Check out Easy Linux on the web. Check out freedompenguin.com for lots of cool stories about Linux. And we will talk again soon. Thank you so much for watching.